Thanks, Nick, and thanks to Reed Corporate and to all of you for turning out. It's always great coming over here to speak to really well-educated investors, and it's speakers like we've just had earlier on in the day that actually set the ground. Don, thanks a lot. I was wondering how I was going to tell this whole story in 15 minutes, but you did half of it for me, and it makes life a whole lot easier. So I normally am flippant about the disclaimer and say, don't believe the word I say, it's all lies. But over the last 2 weeks, the ASX compliance have put me through such a ringer on this disclaimer. So please read it and pay attention. What have we set out to do? 2015, 2016, I was sitting in Perth with a small little company, and we decided, let's take a look around ourselves and decide where we want to go. And we decided that we wanted to get into a suite of minerals that at the time they weren't called critical minerals. They were just base metals that were going to be in short supply. And we were geniuses and nobody else was. And we saw that there was going to be a copper shortage, and there was going to be a nickel shortage, and there was going to be a zinc shortage. So we thought, well, let's go after this. But more importantly, let's go after large bulk mineable ore bodies that modern mining engineering technology are going to improve the economics for going forward. Went around the world and looked at lots of fantastic deposits, and then realized that some of the best opportunities for a return on investment, we were going to buy them cheap because of where they were, but the opportunity was huge, and that was South Africa. And we have acquired an absolute first-class suite of assets in South Africa now, that are now, since we started going in there in 2017, we've got 2 fully permitted, build-ready copper projects where we in fact have started construction on the first one already. We're turning fantastic ongoing exploration results, so they've got massive growth potential, and we are going to deliver 2 bankable feasibility studies or definitive feasibility studies in the next 6 weeks. So the company is amazingly poised at the moment. Ongoing good results from drilling, but also build-ready and production-ready copper. Something very rare on this planet at the moment. So the capital structure of the company, I mean, this ridiculously small market cap of $110 odd million. Horrible number of shares in issue. Yes, the question will always be, when are we going to do a consolidation? At some point we will, but only when we are fully financed. We are working extremely hard at the moment with a select group of financiers, debt and offtake related finance and strategic financiers, that once we've got all of that in place and we know what we're going to be dealing with and we don't have to come back to the market, then we'll look at consolidation. In July, we did a capital raise. We raised $11.3 million. We had $8.3 million in the bank, so we're well funded at the moment. We're in a very good position at the moment. Extremely strong board. Over the last year, we've brought in new skills. Because we're going into development, we're moving out of exploration, we're going into development. Now, most notably, Tony Lennox, who was the MD of Rio Tinto South Africa and built the Palabora copper mine in South Africa and operated that for many years. You know, he's a great right-hand person at this stage. Interestingly, we are dual listed. We're listed on the ASX and the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. And over the 6 years that we've been listed, we've had a growing interest on the Johannesburg Exchange. 50% of the shares are now held in Johannesburg. Sadly, most of the funding is coming out of South Africa now. Australia's forgotten about Orion, and I think they're forgetting and missing a huge opportunity. You've got to be asking yourself why the countrymen in the country where the mineral resource is, that understand the local operating environment, are investing. They're investing because they understand that this is a world-class set of deposits. Not one, it's a multiple set of deposits. First-class set of major shareholders, Tembo, Delphi, Clover Alloys is a local mining company, Fairtree Capital came in last month in the capital raise, a large fund in South Africa. So where do we operate? It's in the Northern Cape province of South Africa. In the east there, we've got a VMS belt, and the southern end of it is the Prieska copper mine, and I'm going to tell you a bit more about that in a little while. And over to the west, there's an intrusive, IOCG intrusive, interesting style of mineralization that has produced 2 million tons of copper historically. Prieska mine has produced 460,000 tons of copper and 1 million tons of zinc historically. So the mines that we have permitted, that we are about to redevelop, have already produced nearly 2.5 million tons of copper. And I'm very confident they'll produce as much again. These are massive deposits that have hardly been scratched. We'll continue drilling and expanding them as we go. So the Prieska, which is our sort of flagship operation, a synclinal feature, we were originally just interested in that bottom of the syncline. When they shut the mine in 1991, they shut it because they'd mined that steeply dipping limb that you see over there. The flat dipping ore body was going to be difficult. It's up to 40 meters thick, people. You know, you stand a 15-story building in the stopes that we're going to do at the bottom over there. It's an enormous ore body, 2.4 kilometers long. It is currently flooded to 260 meters below surface. It's going to take us 3 years to pump out that water. During that time, there's a block of ground that was left near surface, which at the time was a challenge to mine. Now we have proven that we can mine it. We can mine it easily. We've put in the development. The mine is now pre-developed and ready to go. And that will give us our first 3 years worth of very high-grade ore. This ore body is open along strike and will extend. These are the highlights of the BFS 20. Now, we all know what happened since 2020. We went through hyperinflation. All these numbers have changed. In 6 weeks' time, you're going to see new numbers. But importantly, we have got 31 million tons at 1.2 copper, 3.6 zinc, so roughly a 2% copper equivalent ore body, and about 14.5 million tons of that is in reserve. We will continue infill drilling. We've never drilled a blank hole on this mine. We've drilled over 100,000 meters. We've never drilled a blank hole. We've drilled mineralization exactly where we predicted we would, at the grade and the width that we said we would. This ore body will keep expanding, and we believe this will be a 50 million ton resource 5 years from now. And then over in the east is that OKIP. As I said, it's produced over 2 million tons of copper. We currently have 11.5 million tons at 1.4% there. That is the remnants of what was left when Newmont and Goldfields stopped exploring. We've got 600,000 meters of drill core that we've digitized, more than 5,000 drill holes that have intersected mineralization that would be above that 0.5% level. This is a mining district that is going to deliver and deliver. Step one is just to get a small mine into production, a little 60,000 ton a month mill. This district used to produce between 30 and 50,000 tons per annum of copper. Prieska used to produce 20,000 tons per annum of copper. So until the 1970s, these two mines were doing over 50,000 tons per annum of copper. They brownfields, they pre-developed, everything's in situ. We've got the skills, we've got the ability to turn these on very quickly, and we will demonstrate that with feasibility studies in a couple of weeks' time. This will be a major copper producing district for the next 2 decades. It's at least 20 years of life left in these mines. Again, 2021 numbers, I'm not going to bore you with those. They're going to be replaced very shortly with better numbers. So let me just talk you through a little bit of a fly-through. The area where we're mining, the Northern Cape province of South Africa, 30% of the land area, it's a big desert with very big mines. All South Africa's big iron ore, manganese, zinc mines are over there. We've consolidated most of this VMS belt. In the south there is the Prieska mine itself. The town of Prieska is actually 65 kilometers away. It's a little agricultural village, but it was originally built to be the mine village. We draw water from the Orange River there and pump it to the mine. We put a lot of effort into our community development. And I talk a lot about it because in South Africa, in the third world, that's a very important thing that you've got to do. We might be 70 kilometers away from the mine, but we're drawing water, we're drawing people, and we're operating. The mine site itself, because it's pre-developed, is a fantastic opportunity. There is an old tailings dam there. We're not going to use the old tailings dam. We're putting in a new line tailings facility. The site is currently a massive renewable energy production site. It currently produces over 250 megawatts of renewable energy. There are a number of other approved production facilities for renewable energy coming. There is grid power on site at the moment that we are tied into with a 15 megawatt supply. Uninterrupted power supply, I might tell you, that's very important. We've got decline roadways that go to the bottom of the ore body. Remember, it's a syncline. The decline roadways reach to the bottom. The shaft, an 8.8 meter concrete line shaft, reaches the bottom of the ore body. This is a completely pre-developed ore body with all the surface infrastructure in place. It is an enormous ore body. It was mined over an average of 9 meters width, as I say, up to 40 meters wide in places, particularly in the bottom over there. It's the monster. You've got 40 kilometers of inherited decline roadways that we're going to use. We've got to dewater the mine, make all of it accessible, make it safe, re-access it. All of this has been planned out in the most ridiculous detail. When we take it to the independent experts and the banks and we show them what we've done, you know, the ground conditions, look at that. There's not a rock bolt. There's no meshing and lacing. Those declines are 50 years old. We've actually mined in that 105 ore body, 4.5 by 4.5 meter development drives, fantastic ground conditions. We showed that we could get the mining efficiencies with drift and fill mining. We've got a number of pillars. There's 9 million tons of mineralized pillars that we haven't got into resource yet, but we've worked out a mining method to take them out if we want to take them out opportunistically. We will have a small plant that we're going to put in place just to do that. But the big prize is this big blue ore body at the bottom, one massive consolidated ore body. And we've actually discovered a new subparallel underlying footwall ore body with very high-grade mineralization, 6-7 meter wide ore. We've got two different mining methods depending on the dip of the ore body, long hole open stoping with paste filling and drift and fill mining with paste filling as well. As I said, the level of detail and scheduling that we've gone into this, because we're going to be a single asset or a dual asset development company, we have to show more diligence than normal to show that we've got the skills. We've got the mining skills in our management and in our directorate of the company. We know how to do this mining. The people that we've got have done it. We have done it regularly in South Africa. All of our people are actually resident in the town of Prieska. They are shuttled back and forth to the mine in shuttle buses every day. There's no FIFOs. We're not bringing people from Brisbane or Perth to go mine in South Africa. We're using South African skills, South African supply chain. All of the mining methods are practiced in South Africa. All of the equipment suppliers are available there. We'll be mining on bulk scale, very similar to the method that they use in the past, going down onto rail at the 970 level, underground crushing, taking it back to that existing shaft structure where we can hoist 22 tons every 60 seconds to surface. They used to do 30% more than that. We have actually planned it at lower production rates just to be conservative. The opportunity to upscale this is enormous, and that's what we're really looking forward to here, is under-promising and over-delivering as we go into production. On surface is going to be a brand new differential flotation copper and zinc extraction plant. This mine for 20 years produced beautiful quality concentrates. The off-takers are really looking for our concentrates, and we've got a queue of off-takers that are actually prepared to get involved in the financing of the mine in order to secure these concentrates that are in critically short supply in the world at the moment. To the north, we've got a whole exploration belt. Most interestingly, we've got a big nickel, copper, cobalt, PGE deposit. That's just showing 3 kilometers of the strike, but there's about 7 kilometers of outcropping mineralization. This highly drilled area alone is already 65 million tons of ore in an 8 to 60 meter wide ore body. Sulfide nickel is a very interesting future commodity. It's something that we're doing a lot of work on the side. Our focus is very much the copper, but this is also a mining right. Now, this brings an opportunity for us for a joint venture opportunity. We've been doing some interesting refinery technology work on metal vapor refining. And then going across to the west, where we've got this OKIP district, where we've tied up 77% of the district and the historical production. We've got a mining right in the center surrounded by prospecting rights. Those are just the highlight mines and deposits that are known. These are deposits that were drilled by Newmont and Goldfields. This was the go-to place in the 70s and 80s where geologists got sent to learn the skills. The best laboratory in the whole of Southern Africa where people did their reference assaying. We've got enormous faith in the data set that we've accumulated there. Again, high community development attention, because that's what you've got to do in South Africa. These are two fantastic copper projects that we're going to be able to turn on in the next 18 months with DFSs. And today we've just released a whole new set of exploration results showing that these ore bodies have got extension, they've got scale. We've drilled one of the highest grade intersections in the world in the last couple of months, a 50 meter at 5% intersection there. We continue drilling that quality of ore. There's a lot more to come, and there's a much bigger story to come out of this. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. I'll leave it there. There's a much bigger story. Come see me at the booth.